most of the traveling that I've done since the publication of my first book, Wild Fermentation, which came out in 2003, most of the traveling I've done has been teaching about fermentation, because what I learned very quickly after that book came out is that there's a hunger for information about fermentation. I mean, everybody is connected to fermentation through their cultural background, through their grandparents, but a lot of families that had some sort of family fermentation practice that was active, a lot of people have a memory of their grandparents doing something every year that, failed to get passed down through the generations. And, as people have become more aware of the importance of these foods, and beverages, there's just been a hunger for information. And because, the same period of time when, a lot of these traditions stopped being passed down is when we became terrified of bacteria. What a lot of people do is they project their anxiety about bacteria onto the idea of fermentation. And so, this experience that I had, really beginning with my first fermentation workshop, which was in 1998, where the first time I taught people how to ferment, we were shredding vegetables. Sauerkraut is the place to start. Just couldn't be simpler, couldn't be safer. But, I had all of these people looking at the jars of vegetables that they just shredded and packed into jars. And, the question on people's minds was, how can I be sure I have good bacteria growing in my jar of vegetables and not some dangerous bacteria that might make me sick or even kill somebody? So, people have, an incredible amount of anxiety about this. And so, really, what I've been doing is, trying to demystify fermentation and show people that these are actually strategies for safety and really how simple, they are. Like, none of this is rocket science. Like, maybe now we think of, bacteria in terms of microbiologists and microscopes and laboratories, but, fermentation processes are ancient. And, people have been doing them, with, tools and facilities that are, much, much simpler than what most of us have today. So, there's no reason not to ferment, anything you're interested in your kitchen. And that's what my books are, sort of full of techniques that I've learned, in my travels from people who I've met, from books, from experimentation in my kitchen, from other fermentation experimentalists who I've met telling me about what they've tried. And I've just been trying to document these things and share them so that people who are interested in trying these things can do so.